Good morning. Today is Tuesday, April 21st. Happy anniversary yesterday to my parents. I actually started this video a moment ago, but then the screen froze. So I've been shuffling the deck. I only pulled one card just as the screen froze. So we'll pull some more cards from the Tarot of the Cat People deck by Kuykendall, and also from the Flower Therapy Oracle card deck by Doreen and Robert Reeves. But the only card that came out, and I'll continue to shuffle, was the King of Wands. This card came up in the end of the reading I did on Sunday, that was offered to us on Sunday, I should say. And the King of Wands is a healer. What I noticed, and you can go back to the Sunday reading, was that typically the King of Wands usually comes up in traditional tarot with like a lizard as his totem. But I noticed that in the Shadowscapes Tarot, which is what we use Sunday, there was like a cat. Now the cat now is more prominent. The cat is more prominent in this deck. Obviously, this is the Cat People deck, but who knew that this guy was going to pop up again? So this guy is the King of Wands, is somebody who is the element of fire, is the suit of wands. This is the King of Wands. He knows how to control his element and can manage his passions and pursue his passions with a steady burning fire. He's not somebody who's going to let that get out of control unless he came up in the reverse, and he didn't this morning. So he is here. He's lighting the way for us. Very obviously, he's a well-dressed man, but and he also has a cat on his head. Yeah, this is a balance. This is a person who does balance his emotions, his passions. He does things in a balanced way. He's not going to, let his passions be like pursue his passions so single focused that he ignores that other people might have some passions as well or feel passionate about things. And so he has a balance. He has a young cat on the top of his head, as opposed to this more mature cat at his feet, who looks very, very happy. So, it's a balanced guy. He's got, he'll always, he shows a lot of love and he pours love. One of the things that came up in the reading on Sunday was about how he's going to find creative. That's another thing about the wands, is like they're just full of, the creative spark is there to constantly find different ways of, always pursuing, again, in a very stamina, a way that doesn't let the fire get out of control. You can work with the fire in a way that it's always going to be burning brightly no matter what, not out of control, just the right amount, and always, basically keeping the light on. This guy knows how to do it. He takes care of everybody around him. He'll burn away the things that don't matter too. Be like, you know what, this is stuff that we don't need. Well, let's burn those. Let's let those go to ash. And strength card. So the next card that's coming up is the strength card. And then in the strength card, we talked about this when we pulled from the herbal tarot, just the right dose. We don't want to overdo it. So like I said, this guy, he knows how to take his passions and also, work and collaborate. This is a collaborative guy. This is a man who is able to include the good ideas of others, the creative spark of other people. And when we are in our strength, we're able to do that. We know who we are in the room. We're not afraid about other people's, the way other people need to want to run their lives. And we can take that into consideration, but it doesn't need to derail us. Again, stamina. Stamina is something, strength requires stamina. It also requires conditioning. So if, you have to kind of take a step back and, take strength requires the courage to take breaks, to take a rest, to admit that, oh, you know what, I'm not quite ready for this, but, let me just take a step back. Let me take a little breather. One of the elements that creates a fire is air. So we may have to have the strength to step back a little bit to say, oh, I need to consider things a little bit from a different perspective. That's another thing about that's courage, that's strength. You can still pursue your passions and also bring in the perspectives of others, but it doesn't have to water down the way that, the way that you do things. Not the end. And it also doesn't mean that you need to promote ourselves, like the person who knows how, the person who's strong and knows who they are, doesn't need to promote themselves in any big way. There's a a saying in a fellowship that I belong to about how it's more about attraction rather than promotion. So there's that. Let's see if there's another card here that wants to come out from the Tarot of the Cat People. And your enthusiasm doesn't need to get dampened by what's going on around you, and you know how to kind of like, feather the petals sometimes, because if we get over enthusiastic often, that can be a damper to other people, and actually it's like, it feels like you're being like overly dominant. Yeah, Seven of Swords. So again, being careful. So Seven of Swords, if we're bringing in spirit, seven is the number of spirit. This is a card that can be about like where you are in the room, what your thought process is, but it's again very important to not get so enamored with our own way of doing things that we only see one thing. So there are six other swords here available to this person, but they're kind of just so busy balancing, balancing their own stuff that they're not really paying attention. So again, this is using our the suit of swords is about communication. It's about, intuition, the mind, logic, being able to take in the perspectives of things around us, whether it's other people, other situations in any regard, taking in, ideas. Swords are about ideas. We don't have to go, be overly promoting ourselves. We can stand in our own strength quietly without, and just keep that home fire burning rather than being, abrasive, which, like I said, can sometimes dampen the enthusiasm of other people around us. And then we don't really get to benefit from their good ideas, right? So think about that. I'm going to pull one from the Flower Therapy Oracle card deck here for us to see what we have. And, when we are pulling in God's Spirit, adding in that air element, just the right amount of air to a fire, keeps it burning beautifully. Yeah. So not being full of hot air. That's really important. Having fun. And that's the other thing I see about him. He's kind of having fun. This guy's having fun with the cat. And he, so in being in that, if we're in that space of curiosity, then we're, yeah. Oh, wonderful. Stand by your commitments. The pink lily. So this is a stargazer lily. You're strong enough to keep the promises that you've made. Don't back out now. Your angels believe in you. Have fun. Have fun with this, stand by your commitments, continue to pursue things steadily with strength and with curiosity to see what else is unfolding. So I'm going to leave it at that. This will be on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, share it to anybody who you think needs it, even if it's not Tuesday, whatever, April 22nd, 21st. And direct message me on any of those platforms if you want your own reading. Have a great day.